was gonna see how long you would sit there. Okay. Pitch perfect. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay. What is up, Yesh Gamers? Robert the Bruce with Mrs. Robert the Bruce here, answering your questions as our 3 million views celebration video. Once again, thank you guys. Only possible with you all. Super excited to be here. Super excited to pass this milestone. 3 million views. Can't believe it. So you guys submitted questions in a previous video, and we are here to answer them. So the wife is going to read them off, and let's just dive right in.
All right. What do you do for a living?
I am a software developer, and it is as thrilling as it sounds. I write code. And that's about it. There's not a whole lot else to say about that.
All right. Who are some of the original Yesh members you'd like to see back in action?
This was actually submitted by a buddy of mine who was one of the original Yesh members, and I know he's just hoping I'll say his name on here. So, top average player, you're welcome.
Where did you find your passion for gaming?
Interesting question. Always loved gaming. Actually, we'll talk about it a little bit more in one of the later questions on when I started gaming. Ever since I was little, I've loved it. So I've kind of always just grown up with a passion for gaming. I would say recently, it's been like 9 years. The first Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, was my kind of big return, post-college return to gaming and multiplayer competitive gaming and all that good stuff. But yeah, as far as where I found it, it's just kind of always been there because I grew up playing games from the time I was a little kid.
All right. What gear do you use? Headset, editing software?
Yes. The gaming headset is a Triton AX Pro. Software I use, I actually won a copy of Sony Vegas Pro 12, I believe, a couple years ago, which is awesome because that's like $700 or $800 software, and most guys just pirate it. But it was pretty cool to actually have a legit copy. I use Audacity, which is free for audio post-processing. There's just 2 or 3 settings I tweak in there, but actually make a pretty big difference on how the audio sounds, which is pretty cool. I've got a couple of mics. One of my favorites is actually, this one we're using here is a Samson Go mic, but they're like dirt cheap, but they do really well. It's a very inexpensive condenser mic, so that's kind of cool. Save a little cash instead of dropping like a couple $100. But yeah, that's about it.
All right. What was your goal in making this YouTube channel?
My goal in making this YouTube channel honestly started back in Call of Duty, talking with my buddies about a lot of the channels that were out at the time we just didn't really like. And I remember we would talk about, man, everyone just posts like their favorite clips and talks about how awesome they are, or talks about nonsense. We should start a channel where we actually teach people and like show tactics and cool stuff. And I took it upon myself to be the one to do that out of the pack, and nobody else in our group did. And it just kind of has evolved from there.
Does the wife have a channel?
Wah, wah. No, she does not. We have toyed with the idea many a time. Gotten close to starting one multiple times, but it's just never has fully kicked off. I think if you had a current game that you were really hooked on playing, she could probably be talked into it. But yeah, no, currently no.
Maybe. We'll see. Do you have do you follow any sports teams?
Only sports team I really follow much of is the Texas Rangers because I grew up in Texas. So yeah, a little bit of baseball, but I try to keep up with the main happenings of other stuff, but don't really follow much else.
Do you have any children?
We do. We have 2 kiddos who are in bed asleep now. A 1 and a 3-year-old, 2 little dudes. So heirs to the throne to carry on Yesh Gaming years from now.
What are you most looking forward to in Battlefield 1?
Good question, and this will probably change as I learn more about it and as they release more details. Right now, honestly, I would say maybe the destruction level being ramped up. It's cool in Battlefield 4, all the stuff you can destroy and buildings you can bring down, Levolution and kind of gimmicky, but it's fun. But from what I've seen, Battlefield 1's supposed to take that to the next level and just make like everything where you can just like totally reshape the battlefield, and that would be really cool.
What is your favorite game of all time?
Really tough question. So many classics. I mean, you could argue like Mario 1 back on the NES was incredible. Mario 3, and then all the way to newer, more modern titles. Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation 1 was in my top 3 for sure. If I had to just choose one game, though, I would probably say, and some people may say it's the stereotypical favorite game, but Final Fantasy VII, I've put hundreds and hundreds of hours into, and still love it. So probably Final Fantasy VII.
What is a dream destination for both of you?
Dream destination. What do you think?
I would say
Probably
New Zealand.
Oh, okay. I was going to say we would both say something like Tahiti because we've talked about doing that for like a 10 or 15 year anniversary. But New Zealand would be pretty awesome because we could reenact Lord of the Rings.
That is true.
New Zealand or Tahiti.
You mentioned you were making a game before. What is it?
Good question. Probably the game I was talking about when I mentioned that was not this one, because I've bounced around a few times. Currently, I'm making a mobile game that is if you've played Jetpack Joyride or I guess Flappy Bird, even though that's kind of a dinky example, just like a one-touch game. Now, it's not going to be an endless game like those where you go on forever and just see how far you can go. It's actually going to be level-based that you would proceed through, but the same type of play style and dynamics. It'll be set in space with a spaceship, but there will be stuff you can unlock and some tactics involved on proceeding through the game. So it's still kind of in rough form. I've got an early alpha prototype on my phone that my kids play, and they seem to like it. So that's good. But,
they love it.
Yeah, they do. They do love it. But yeah, that's it. And I've got one or two others down the pipeline that it would probably take 5 or 10 minutes just to explain them. If I just gave like 10-second explanations, though, that'd sound really stupid. So we'll just leave it at that. But when I do get any of these finished, I'm going to be launching them. I will be putting like the little promo videos that you link to in the app stores on my channel here, so you guys will be some of the first to get to see them, and may even do some sort of a beta testing thing if any of you guys would be interested. And I could send out the install files, and you guys could try them out early. So it'd be cool.
All right. What is y'all's favorite food?
What's your favorite food?
Anything Mexican.
That's a good answer. I would say nachos or pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, I eat nachos just about any time I can here, but pizza's up there as well.
What was your first system?
Yes, we had an Atari 2600. But I was so little when we had that. It wasn't really hooked up when I was like 2 or 3, and I couldn't even really do anything then. So the first system I remember, I think I was 4 years old when my parents brought home the original NES and playing the original Nintendo. I couldn't even really do it well at the time. I remember usually just watching my older brother play. But that kind of goes back to the other question on how early I started gaming was with the original NES and just, all the way up the line from there with the consoles all the way to now. So yeah, that's a throwback. But NES with Super Mario Brothers and Kung Fu were our first games we had. Those are good times. And this last question came from a guy who had waffle in his name. And that probably weighs in on the question.
Pancakes or waffles?
Right. And he will be disappointed because I would prefer pancakes. Waffles just end up seeming to make a mess, in my opinion. I just don't do well with waffles. I like pancakes.
Interesting.
How about you? What?
I don't see how waffles are messy.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Pancakes or waffles?
That's hard. I think I equally like both of them.
Lame. Cop out.
It's not a cop out.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in to this somewhat ridiculous but a little fun get to know you video. Thank you guys for submitting the questions as well in the question asking video that I took off the channel now. But yeah, forging ahead to 4 or 5 million or whatever the next big milestone is. Awesome to have the Yesh Gaming community with us, and awesome to have a cool wife that supports me doing this, even though I'm an adult. It's very cool. So props to her.
Change that to 3 children.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
2.
yeah. She has 3 children. Correct. Me being 1. So anyway, thank you guys. I'll see you guys again soon in my next video.
Bye.
Okay, let's do
Should
6.
I labor after?
Kind of ruined it, but
I'm done with you.
let's do 2 more takes.
What?
I'm just kidding.
I was like, what?